in some ways, and I'm paraphrasing and sort of interpreting Mia Mingus here, in North America, in Western capitalism, in the world right now that we live in, beauty, desirability, and sexuality are like the ultimate kind of currency. More even than whiteness, or maybe just that whiteness is equated with sexuality and desirability. More even than masculinity, or that masculinity is just equated with desirability and whiteness. This idea that we can be beautiful is equated with the idea that we can be equal. Like, okay, it's cool that I can be trans as long as I pass and that straight men want me and I have real breasts and that my vagina, I don't have a vagina, but if I did, that my vagina could be fucked by a straight man. This idea that if we just looked a little whiter, but we're still Asian, you know, or we looked a little whiter, but we're still people of color, then we could fit into the gay rights movement. This idea of being presentable, beautiful, and ultimately respectable, like ultimately respected. If we could boil all of that philosophical talk down to an anecdote, like I used to be a trans teenager. I used to be someone who was a boy, or talked about as a boy, on the internet looking desperately for ways that I could transition and look like a real woman, whatever that means. That I could look like a beautiful woman, whatever that means. And the fact that I conflated the idea with real, with beautiful, says something about our culture, right? About the way that we live. So all that to say, where do we live now in 2015, the transgender tipping point, the gay tipping point maybe, like what is important, what is not? I think we have to be really cautious about what is beautiful and what is respectable. Because what is beautiful is respectable, ultimately, in the American media's eye. And we have to ask ourselves, like, why? Like, Mia Mingus talks about embracing the ugly, embracing what is uncomfortable. And I think you talked about this too, David. What is really uncomfortable is looking at a trans person who looks like a man, quote unquote, in a dress. Like, why are we so ready to accept Janet Mock and Caitlyn Jenner as she looks now? Like, being trans is uncomfortable. Like, I look at myself all the time, I'm like, I have too many beard hairs. Like, my chest is too flat. I don't have a vagina. Like, all of these questions are questions that cause me pain, you know, and also it's kind of funny. And I remember being a gay Asian male, and I think lots of people can remember this, looking in the mirror and being like, why do I look Asian? A lot of women can look in the mirror and be like, why am I so fat? Why am I so black? Why is my skin so dark? And all of this stuff is like, why can't I be loved? Like, why can't people just love me? And that's because love is a currency of capitalism, and capitalism is a currency of power. When we can talk about being loved, when we can talk about loving our bodies and other people's bodies outside of how much they are valued sexually, then we can talk about equality. Okay? Okay, that's my answer to that question.